Hi, my name is Ashley Kosen, and today I'll be talking you through determining the amplitude, phase shift, period, and vertical shift of sine and cosine equations. I know from personal experience, seeing this on exams can definitely not be the most comforting thing, but hopefully once we go through this video and once you see everything, you'll be able to feel more confident in applying, evaluating, and understanding everything and what they mean. So first, it's very important for us to define some of these terms. So amplitude is something we're going to derive directly from our equation because it is A, as we can see down here. And I like to think of this as how much or how tall the wave is. Some people like to think of this as a vertical stretch, but again, I prefer to think of it of how tall this wave is. That's just the easiest way for me to go about it. So period and phase shifts are a little different from amplitude because you cannot derive this, you can't directly pluck it out the equation, but you can use things in the equation to figure it out. So period is done by doing 2 pi over b. So b is usually in front of your x, as you can see right here. And period, I define it as being similar to frequency, which is pretty much when a wave completes. So if it starts at crest, it ends at crest. If it starts at trough, it ends at trough. So phase shift, again, is something you are not plucking directly out of the equation, but you use things in your equation to figure it out. So the equation for that is C over B. So this would be your C, and this would be your B, C, B. And I like to think of this as how much your wave shifts left or right from your parent function. So similar to a horizontal shift, but don't think of it as a rigid similarity. And then vertical shift is nice and easy like amplitude, where it is D. And you can directly plug this out, and this is how much your wave goes up or down from the parent function. So the two equations here are just your basic setup for your sine and your cosine equations. This is super important to memorize and remember so you can apply it for future problems like we're going to do in this video. So we're going to work out the first problem together, and then I'll give you guys a chance to start the second problem. So even though that one of these is cosine and one of these is sine, the way that you figure out your amplitude, period, phase shift, vertical shift is no different. So we'll start off with the first one. So like I said previously, you can derive your amplitude directly from your equation. You can pretty much plug it straight out. So amplitude is the A, usually before cosine or sine. So we can see the number here before cosine is 3. So your amplitude is 3. So that's pretty much how tall your wave would have been if we graphed it out. So period is something you're not directly plucking out the equation, but you can use something in the equation to figure out what this is. So the equation for period is 2 pi over b. So as we can see here, b is usually what comes before x, and we see the number before x is 2. So we can plug that in for our b. So we have 2 pi over 2, and if we simplify that, that's just pi. So our period for this equation would be pi. So phase shift is kind of the same thing where you're not directly deriving it from your equation. So C over B would be the equation for phase shift. So let's find where our C is. Our C would be our -1 here, and our B would be our 2. So we'll do -1 over 2, which means our phase shift, this is pretty much the most simplified you can get. So our phase shift will be -1 half. And then vertical shift, nice, easy peasy. You can plug it straight out, which would be our D, which is usually the thing, it's a constant pretty much after here. So our vertical shift would be 1. So if we were to draw this out, it would be 3 units tall, 1 unit up from the parent function, 1 unit to the right, and then yeah. So I'm gonna give you guys a second to try the next one. So please pause the video and we'll come back together and I will help you figure out and check your answer. Okay, so hopefully you paused the video and you worked this out. So welcome back. So we're gonna start off with our amplitude, nice, easy peasy. So amplitude, again, you can pluck this straight out of the equation and it's usually what's in front of sine. So our amplitude we see in front of sine, we have a -4. However, amplitude is always an absolute value, it's always a positive number. So for this, we're not gonna write -4 as amplitude, we're gonna write 4. So the amplitude of this equation is just 4. Don't write -4 because it's always an absolute value. Keep that in mind. So for our period, again, you can't pluck this out, unfortunately. So we're going to do some math. So period, again, the equation for that is 2 pi over b. So here we can figure out what our b is, which is 1/2 because it's the number in front of your x. So we're going to plug that in for b. So 2 pi over 1/2. So you can plug this into a calculator, but with some keep, change, flip, we can figure this out. So it'll be 2 pi, and I'll just put that over 1 for simplicity, over 2 over 1. So this would simplify to 4 pi. So this equals 4 pi. So our period is 4 pi. So for phase shifts, again, unfortunately, you can't just pull it out. You got to do some math. So phase shift, again, is C over B. So first, let's find our C. I don't see a C. So our C is 0, but we do have a B, which is 1/2. So we know any number, well, 0 over any number is just what? It's 0. So our phase shift for this is 0. So don't be concerned if you get 0 for phase shift or vertical shift. It's okay. That can happen. It works out. So now we're going to move on to something easier, which I love, which is our vertical shift, which again, you can find this straight in your equation. It's just going to be your D. So we see here, it's 4. So your vertical shift would be 4. So your amplitude again is 4, period 4 pi, phase shift 0. Again, it can be a 0, and then vertical shift. So hopefully everything in this video made sense. It made you feel a little more confident when it comes to approaching problems like this. And just keep in mind certain equations, certain rules that go through finding amplitude, period, and phase shift. And I know if you guys review this and constantly work on this, you guys will do amazing. So thank you for watching, and I hope you the best in all your journeys.